Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver.
Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Let's talk about something that's happening. We're just getting a sniff of it. Now, as far as the COMEX, we're looking at the 24th. Next Wednesday is the last day to trade the February contract, and then anybody standing for delivery will demand delivery. Right now, that number is through the roof. Right now, that number is open interest. The potential. This is just potential. There's 87,000 contracts. Before today's close, they normally post it later today. So we got 7 days and 87,000 contracts. If they take off 10,000 per day, either through delivery or rolling over, or they have to close out. They have to have someone to buy that position. They do 10,000 a day for the next 7 days. It will still lead us with 17,000 contracts, which would be the largest delivery month. Would it? Yeah, which would be the largest, right around the largest delivery month ever. That's if they do 10,000 per day. Last Friday, they only took off. They were only able to close out less than 3,000 contracts. So they're going to have to close out a lot of contracts. COMEX could shut down. There's all kinds of things that could happen. But what I want to talk about right now is something I see happening. Now, from January 26th through February 3rd, we saw this. You can see it slowly rising to ultimately on February 1st, we had that ridiculous volume of over 2 billion ounces that were dumped on the COMEX, buying and selling to each other. Virtu Financial is the king of that. Pure fraud. It's all fraud. But as we talked about last week, there is a correlation, an exact correlation to the iShares Silver Trust, which the smart people have decided that they're going to take delivery on iShares Silver, which you can do. Now, I said last week it was 100,000 ounces. It's actually 50,000, according to the trust prospectus. 50,000 ounces. So if you want to buy 50,000 ounces of silver, don't go through the COMEX. Don't go through your retail buyer. Go through SLV and take delivery. And they are required, by law, the authorized participants are required to give you delivery. Doesn't matter if they're shorting them or not, they are required to give you delivery of the shares. So 50,000, if you want 50,000 ounces of silver, go to the SLV, buy 50,000 shares, and then redeem them through the authorized participants. Your brokerage house should be able to do that. That's what you tell them to read the prospectus. If you have 50,000 shares, you can redeem them. Now, there's some fees for storage and delivery and all that. Not much. If you want to get physical silver, do not wait for the COMEX to change the rules. iShares Silver Trust, by law, by definition, through the SEC, because they are SEC regulated, they got the approval from the SEC, they are required to give you your silver. And we know through the Goldman Sachs interview and Blythe Masters of JP Morgan that they are hedging that silver. They are hedging it. So your silver that you hold on SLV, they are taking out shorts to suppress the price. You can beat them. You can beat them by taking out your silver, or just go buy silver. If you're a little guy like me, I'm going to my silver store today. I'll be at the silver store buying up everything I can get my hands on. All right, so here's what I want to show you that said, okay, we saw this happen last week where volume spiked in SLV of about 300 million shares. That's crazy. They could all take delivery, and delivery has been going on. 50 million have been pulled off. 110 million went in, and 50 million have been pulled off. Basically, it's a shell game being played by these criminal bankers, but we can beat them. We can beat them by pulling off our silver, both on the COMEX, which the big guys, let them play over there. Silver, the medium-sized guys, you can take out 50 million or 50,000 ounces, up to 50,000 ounces. That's a lot of silver. And you can do it. No, it's not up to, a minimum of. Sorry. You can pull out 100 million, 200 million. You can pull out all 650 million ounces off iShares silver. If you own them, because you own them and you're not playing games with them, That's what the prospectus says. Anybody who has 50,000 shares can cash them in for the physical. So do it. And the little guys like you and me, we're going to go buy up our coin shops. We want to buy when the prices are low, right? When the prices are not the crazy premiums. Right now but look what's happening. Today, just today, volumes of SLV we're halfway through the day, volumes have already spiked over the average 65-day volume. So let me show you why I think this is important. So you take a look at right down here. This is at MarketWatch. You can use it anyway. It'll show you the volume. We're halfway through the day, and we're at 37.5 million shares have been bought on SLV. 37.5 million. And the average in the last 65 days, including the spikes, the average was 36.7. So we're halfway through the day. We're already over at the average. That's what happened right in here, right before the big spike into the weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days before. Are we going to have another spike this weekend? I would think it would be the next weekend because that's the COMEX delivery month. But maybe people want to get their physical silver in their hands before all the COMEX craziness goes on next week. That's what I would do. I wouldn't wait around. So if you're a big money guy, little money guy, medium guy, go to SLV, buy the SLV, and take delivery. Do it all on the same day. Don't let them play with your money. Your brokerage house, show them the prospectus. Hey, I bought SLV. I have 50,000 shares, and I want 50,000 ounces. Delivered to me as it says in the prospectus. And they'll hem and haw a little bit, but then they have to do it. Or it's a fraud. Okay. So I expect this little bar here. This is the iShares Silver Trust SLV volumes. If volumes tick up, I think this week it should hit, or today it should hit about 70, 80 million ounces, which is putting it up here. We're seeing another uptick just like before, and then we're going to see a big day, probably Monday, just like it happened the last Monday on February 1st, of a huge number. And then all the silver goes over to SLV, and they have to deliver, and it just keeps going and going. We are pounding the silver shorts. They are criminals. They do not belong on this planet. Banks are given a license to print money for free. We understand that. We do that because it's for the good of the economic system. It's good of the people. That's what that license is supposed to be. It is not for the good of them to play around, monkey around, or even be involved at all in commodity markets. Why does a bank who can print money for free and then short as much as they want, why is that allowed? That is criminal. If they want that world to happen, give everybody the right to print money for free, right? Let's take these bastards down. All right, speaking of bastards, BlackRock, who owns the SLV, sells off gold and focuses on silver. The world's biggest asset manager, BlackRock, is getting out of gold and into silver as it sold 2.7 million of its GLD shares and bought 1.8 million shares of SLV. They're so criminal. They knew all this was going to happen, and they positioned themselves to take advantage of it. Same with Citadel. We've all heard the name Citadel, who owns Robinhood, who everybody thought was short, and then they find out they're long SLV contracts. Who'd have thunk it? Criminals behind the scenes. Anyway, keep it up. This is the end game for silver manipulation. Keep an eye on this number 2, because I know a lot of people saying that COMEX is fraud. They'd never deliver. If they default, they default. And I think that would be the best. Truthfully, I don't care if they deliver. I care that it shuts down. The only place in the world that prices silver is the COMEX. LBMA is not even an exchange. It's an association. It's a bunch of old bankers sitting around pretending that they trade back and forth over 100 billion ounces of silver. Physical silver is ridiculous. It's stupid. SLV is a share of a trust that is supposed to hold silver. And they do. I believe that silver is there. But the fact that they are hedging the silver so that all the price surge that should have come in to adding 100 million ounces of silver to the SLV last week or 2 weeks ago, all that price pressure ended up in zero price rise because the bankers are shorting this silver ETFs on the COMEX, claiming that it's theirs. Who owns that silver? Who owns the silver? The trust owns the silver, and every share is beneficial, a beneficial share of the entire trust. So there should be no shorts. Zero Goldman Sachs, zero Blythe Masters. There should be zero shorts on the SLV trust unless you declare to every shareholder of SLV, we are going to short every time you deposit money to buy an ounce. We are going to short that ounce to keep the price under control. That is nowhere in the prospectus. It is complete fraud. And is not, shouldn't, where is the CFTC again for the 100th time? Actually, with SLV, where is the SEC, which is more criminal and more corrupt, but smarter lawyers? Pathetic. Pathetic. So we are seeing the exact same thing with the silver price. Slam up, slam down. Virtu Financial with their high-frequency trading. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citibank, BlackRock, Bankers Trust. Bankers Trust is the trustee. Are they the one who's allowing it? It doesn't matter. They all work together to collude to control the price of silver. That is a conspiracy to commit a crime. And obviously, RICO charges should be brought where they have to pay 3 times the amount that they stole. That's the penalty for RICO charges, up to 3 times the amount you stole. And I would say JP Morgan stole 1 billion ounces of silver. They need to pay back the American people 1 billion ounces. And everybody in this whole clique of riggers, and not just the companies, the individuals need to be put in jail for doing what they are doing. The individuals, including the CEO, the entire board of directors, and all the officers of the company. That's the only way to stop it. Make them responsible. The officers of JP Morgan, meaning all the senior vice presidents of JP Morgan, need to be fined or go to jail for this behavior. JP Morgan has paid $45 billion in fines over the past 20 years. $45 billion in just fines. It's a get out of jail free. None of the officers have gone to jail. The officers, the board of directors, they all need to go to jail. It's a criminal enterprise. What don't you understand, CFTC or SEC or the Biden administration? Or if Trump's in charge, the Trump's administration. I was a big critic of Trump because he was rigging the market. The rigging of the market has been going on since 1913. And I'm continuing to be a big critic of anybody who tries to distort fair market value, because fair market value, free markets are the road to freedom. Rigged markets are the road to socialism and the destruction of our country. And I will not stand by and let that happen. Go to roadtoruler.com. Subscribe today for the public updates. I send an email out every morning, a couple of times a day when it's busy, which is right now. Absolutely. Get yourself on the public road, and then if you got a little cash, if you invested in silver or Theta, hit subscribe today. Enjoy the private road. It's $2.99 for a year. You get access to everything, including the updates, including the Jenny Moonstone readings, the Theta, how to buy, store, and stake Theta. And you get to support the Road to Root cause. Keep the lights on the Road to Root, although the lights are pretty strong these days, I must say. If you guys watch Theta, Theta's going to 3,000, and it's at $3 right now. And it's not. I'm not talking 5 years. It's going to 3,000. It's at $3. It's Bix Weir, roadtoruler.com. I'll talk to you later.